I think the only assumption that you should make is that if someone presses play, they don't want you to suck.
That's true.
That they want you to succeed. So when we do like the whole public speaking and communication side of things, like people get nervous. You get nervous because you care about what people think of you. So if you just reframe that and go, well, if I was going to waste or spend my time listening to this, I want it to be good. I want to learn something. I want to be able to be empowered. I want to feel good at the end of it. That's what the audience wants. So why are you worried that they're going to think it's shit?
Absolutely.
Just show up and just crush it.
Welcome to Playing with Perspective, the suspended animation podcast, where we hear real stories from real people and we tackle all sorts of fun topics in the areas of business, marketing, entrepreneurship, mindset, the arts, and, well, life itself. It's amazing what you'll pick up. Thanks for joining us. Welcome. This is it.
We're in. We've hacked a podcast studio. Look at this thing.
We're in Melbourne at the Corner House. No, Central House.
And we are on the air.
And we're on the air. Another great episode of Playing with Perspective, the suspended animation podcast with Stevie C.
Daz Saul. Look at him. The DS and the SC together, the DSSC.
I love it.
We could really tear this up, mate.
We're having fun in our new podcast studio, rented. But,
I'm just, like we've just been saying, we've been obsessed with the tech that we've got. Like we've got this little roadcaster thing. We've got proper mics, headphones. I can hear my voice, which is not great, but you know.
This is gold.
We're like kids in the candy shop,
Absolutely.
mate. This is brilliant. This is so cool. Mate, what's been happening? I haven't seen you for a while. You're down here in Melbourne.
Down here in Melbourne. I'm in the hood in Melbourne. This is South Melbourne. I'm here for a conference, here to catch up with family and friends.
Beautiful. Doing
some content creation. Checking out the sights and the beautiful weather of Melbourne this week.
Melbourne, you see, I was in Sydney. I was in Sydney for 2 days this week, and I say the same thing. Like maybe it's just because the grass is always greener on the other side.
It's a holiday, a working holiday.
Definitely,
we all need a little working holiday here and there.
Do the suspended animation peeps know that you're a bit of a moonlighter as a recruiter? You're a bit of a dark arts, mate. You're a bit of playing the shadows, mate.
We do a few little things. I came down for a recruitment conference. Did a podcast from the conference as well. And
you did a podcast from the conference?
Yeah, I did a podcast.
How did you do that?
They had a podcast studio set up on the expo floor.
No way.
Just audio.
Like a little sound booth, like you jumped in?
Yep. And I had a chat with one of the presenters of the day. And we chatted all about talent diversity.
Talent diversity.
It was very cool.
That's super cool.
Yep.
How do you find that now? So obviously, you know, we've done some work together on the zero to hero for podcasting, and I've had one episode on the suspended animation. I get another day with you, Daz, in the little rented studio. What are you seeing now, like in terms of podcasting? Is it just getting easier and easier to get into it?
Absolutely. I think it's definitely easier and easier to get into because of the tech. I mean, look at all this stuff. Look how easy you can rent this space for very low cost. But the key is you got to be consistent.
Right.
And that's what we discussed before.
Consistencies.
You've got to be consistent and you've got to post-produce the content. We're just going to let it run here and have fun, but we're going to have to post-produce this into something that's valuable for the audience. Because two of us is fun, just chatting, but for 45 minutes, people say, all right, next.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yep. That's a big misconception because, I mean, when Amanda and I did our podcast, I didn't edit anything.
Yeah.
Like when everyone says, oh, you got to edit your podcast, it's like, okay, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why I've got no followers. Maybe no one listens to what I have to say.
You only did about 5 episodes.
No, we did like 20 episodes.
Oh,
mate.
Really?
Come on, brother. Cool.
Well, you can still go and post-produce them. That's the beauty.
You can.
You've got 20 episodes in the bag, plus if you post-produce it, you've got more content.
Yeah, see, that's your thing. So you're saying that it's super easy to get involved in podcasting, and we know that. We've got the gift of knowing how all of this stuff works.
Definitely.
You don't need anything as complicated as this, right? You can have your phone and your headphones, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, you can do it on Zoom. You can do it on, you can buy a cheap mic, a Blue Yeti, or anything like that really easily. You can do it with your AirPods if you want.
Beautiful.
You don't even have to spend any money. But the key, bless you, is to use this as a medium for your marketing. That's the key. A lot of people get caught up in the fact that they're just podcasting and the podcasting is great and the episode's fun, but it's what you do with it that makes the difference. How do you leverage
Hang
it?
on. The leverage, that's cool. The leverage that everyone would think would be, oh, I just put it on YouTube or I put it on Spotify.
Yep.
That's
But
it, right? Is that it?
No, got way more than that.
Whoa.
So you got to chop up. You're going to have 40-minute conversation.
Okay.
Then you got to chop it up into loads of little bits. You can use that all in your socials.
Oh, right. So, so there's a whole content strategy that comes with.
Content strategy that comes with it. Then you can link it on your, put it on your newsletters. You can put it in your email signatures. You can do all sorts of things to keep bringing people back to that episode. So the episode is like the end of the trail.
Yep.
But the lead magnets are all the little bits and pieces that you chop out of it.
Yeah, right.
And that's the beginning of the process. So that's the thing you got to think about.
Yeah, right. And then obviously is the most efficient way to capture your podcast via video?
Definitely.
Yeah, because then you get the best of both. You get everything, right? You get the ability to transcribe it into text, use the audio for 100%. The podcast, and have it on a YouTube video, create your YouTube channel.
Yep.
Then,
if you're going to go to the trouble of putting a podcast episode together, you might as well just record it in video like we're doing, even just with an iPhone.
Dude, that's it. There's
Look how easy
literally
that
an
is.
iPhone on it.
iPhone on a little Joby stick.
Yep.
And then you've got the video content, the audio content. You can take all the written content out of that as well. You can take screenshots. You can do all sorts of things.
Gosh.
So that's the
How
key.
easy. How it sounds like it. People are probably thinking, oh, that's easy for you to say, Daz. You know what you're doing. But how many episodes? How many episodes have you done?
So I've done about 222,
222 episodes. And when did you start to notice? What episode number did you start to notice that people were actually listening?
I'd say after you've done 80 to 100,
Really?
then you start to get a bit of traction.
Listen to that, folks. Listen to that, right? So people are thinking, oh, I've got something to say. You know, I woke up one morning and something really bad happened to me, or I'm real successful. I'm a legend in my own lunchbox.
Yeah, that's right.
If I do one podcast and put it out to the world, I'm famous.
No way.
Not going to happen, right?
No
So you're saying 80 episodes until you notice the needle starting to move.
Yep. And also it takes, as they say, you got to do 1,000 hours to perfect any skill. And you never perfect it, but you got to do a lot of episodes to even know what you're doing.
Yeah, right.
Like one episode, not going to happen.
Yeah. So, and again, a lot of people would still go like 10 episodes and think, wow, I've done a good job. That's just a speck of sand in the ocean.
Nothing.
Right? That's nothing.
Most people do 10 episodes, or like you've done 20, and then
Well, that's what we did. We're like, I'm exhausted. I'm done.
Yep.
Got better things to do. Not seeing the needle's not moving. I'm out podcasting. So would you see that there's some people that would go, podcasting's no good? 100%. And then you ask the question, how many episodes did you do? 20.
20.
Cute. Do 4 more lots of that and then come and see me.
Absolutely.
I think that's a trend in the broader marketing space as well, and probably the world, is technology, as great as it is, has now made us so impatient, and we're not willing to wait and let the process happen through consistency.
Definitely. And because social media is so noisy now, it's getting noisier every day because everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. Everybody thinks it's the place to be, which it is.
Yeah.
You've got to put out more content, and you've got to be more consistent
Yes.
to break through. So it has to be a strategy that you dedicate yourself to and know that it's going to give you results, but you cannot waver.
Okay.
You just got to do it.
What you said there was really interesting. Like, you've got to just trust the process. That's what you're saying, right?
Trust the process and enjoy the journey. And if you're not enjoying what you're doing, you're not going to continue. So you got to enjoy it. You got to have fun with it, and you can start to get creative, and you start to make it your own. You start copying other people when you started, like I did.
Yep.
You learn how you script an episode. You learn how to intro. You do all that stuff, and then you just make it your own, and you do it your way.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. And I think that consistency piece is so important. Podcasting, YouTube videos, marketing, posting on social media, like lead generation, all of these things. We get a lot of clients that come to us, and we've got a program where we help clients who create education, so experts. If their course or their knowledge solves a problem that an employee of a big company has, we recommend that they start selling their knowledge to big companies because there's more money there.
Indeed.
Right? Lots more staff, lots more money, easy. But the question that we ask them is like, hey, would you be okay to like connect with 10 people on LinkedIn a day? At the start, yeah, no problems. But then 4 weeks later, they come back, they say it hasn't worked. Like, this system's not working, the program's not working. I go, cool, show me your connection list. You haven't done your homework. Oh, it's too hard to connect with people on LinkedIn. Oh, I started, I'm busy, blah, 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 blah. What you're saying is,
You got to do the work. You got to
do
do
the work.
the 1,000 hours. You got to do the reps.
Yeah, do the reps, get them done.
If you're not going to do the reps, nothing's going to happen.
Critical, mate.
You've got to do the work.
Yep. Listen to that, folks. Listen, are you listening to this? This is knowledge from the master.
But
Just
what about
telling
you,
you how
man?
it's done.
What's been happening with you?
Oh, mate, we've been busy.
Yep.
Been super busy.
Good.
I've had a really, like, I was overseas at the start of the year, and I was telling this to someone yesterday. If you had have asked me back in January, like, what does the first half of the year look like? I'd say it's looking pretty skinny. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen because we didn't have a really full pipeline. We didn't have a bunch of clients lined up.
Yep.
In the time that I flew back from Europe and then came back and reassimilated and got over the jet lag, we're fully booked again. Someone, like some smart person would go, oh, well, what systems do you have in place? I don't know. Yeah. Just happened, right? Just happened.
Fantastic.
The crystal worshippers, they'd be like, oh, the universe has served it because that's the way. Right? And I'd be like, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
But in your case, it's because you are so passionate about what you do.
I think it's that.
And you genuinely try to do the best job you can possibly do.
Yeah.
So people will refer you because you
that's
care.
Yeah, I think that's it. I care, and I care about the end users, and I care about my clients. I don't really care about the trail of bodies that I've left in my wake to make sure that my clients are okay. And I think that's something that's unique about me and the way that we do business. So it's either you love the way that we roll, or you can't deal with me at all. And that's okay. I think that's another thing that a lot of people struggle with is that they're trying to please everyone.
Definitely. Yep.
And, we meet in the networking world. Like, that's where we met.
That's right.
And for me personally, that's a cesspool of shit. Like, I struggle to deal with that because the type of people that are attracted to small to medium business networking are not usually people who are open to the ideas that my agency and our work that's successful for others is. But meeting some clients recently and hearing some of the challenges that they've faced by engaging the wrong consultant, engaging the wrong agency, spending lots of money and getting nothing for return. Yep. We're having to come in and like rescue these people.
Clean it all up.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
It's super challenging because and then maybe it's in a lot of industries. You probably see it in the recruitment space. Definitely. You get a bad recruiter, they've spent a lot of cash, and then you've got to come in and ask for the same, if not more amount of cash for them to play with you. And they're like, whoa, well, Daz, like, we've just been burnt. Like, can you look after us? It's like, well.
And then you've got to retrain and convey all that knowledge and then start the whole process again. It's quite a lot of work.
It's literally, do you remember those the animal show, the animal hospital shows as a kid? You used to watch like Ranger Stacey on Agro's Cartoon Connection. She used to have like the injured wombat that got hit by a car, nursing it back to health, bringing it back to the day that it can walk back out into the wild. That's our process now. And unfortunately, the good operators, thanks to, poor providers of service who don't give a shit about their clients, they're just interested in the transaction. They've made it so hard for the good guys. We've got to work twice as hard now just to get to zero to then be able to start to demonstrate our skills. Really, really interesting dynamic.
Which is amazing. But that's also why you get referrals, because you do such a good job. Yeah. And then you get so many referrals.
Yeah,
you have to advertise.
That's right. Yeah. But if you were to ask the smart people, that's not the best way to run your business. And I agree with them. So, this year I'm committing to appearing a little bit more in public, talking to people, high-fiving people, doing content like this.
More content, a bit more podcast.
Now that I know that there's a podcast studio that I can pay to let me talk, just go give me an hour. I'll just sit in here and play with this.
Absolutely.
It's awesome. It's awesome. But it's good. No, work is good, and I'm fortunate that I'm getting to say no to a lot more people than I did previously. And I mean, that's just a maturity thing in business. You'd be the same. If you don't, if you can smell that the client's a bit, this is going to be hard work. If you're coming from a place of feasting as opposed to famine and you don't need the work because you've got confidence that you'll get good referrals, you can just go, nah, I don't want to work with you, versus I got to pay the mortgage this month and I'm short, I'll have to do it. And then 2 weeks in, you're just having nightmares, regretting, because you knew that it was going to be a bad deal, and then you have to take it. So I'm in a fortunate position now where I get to choose with the sort of people that I work with. So,
and you get to enjoy it, and that makes it even more of a long-term journey for you, because you're enjoying every day.
Exactly.
It's not work anymore. It's fun.
It's all about mate. If you don't enjoy it,
100%.
And we were talking about some other things about how we can leverage technology and tools to sort of take away some of those tasks and bringing in team members to do some of the work that allows you to just get out. What's in your world? What are the key things, maybe like 3 or 4 things that give you the most satisfaction through the day?
For me, it's helping people achieve outcomes, whether it's in the recruitment space, whether it's setting up a podcast for somebody, whether it's producing a podcast and launching it and tagging them in, and they say, wow, look, I've just done that. Thanks, Darren. I love that process. It was amazing. That's just achieving outcomes for people.
Yeah, dude.
And through that, I enjoy it because I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm tweaking and challenging and embracing different technologies, and it's a win-win.
Beautiful, mate.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I think that's the key.
That's what it's all about, mate.
Yeah.
Love it. How cool is this, dude? For anyone that's thinking about doing a podcast or just wanting to experience this, mate, here they are, Central House. Just give them a call. What did it cost us per hour?
$75 an hour.
What, are you kidding me?
That's it for a 4-piece microphone set.
We could bring 2 friends in.
Easy.
And they could sit here. $75.
Yep.
Let's talk about that for a second, because look, in our worlds there are charlatans, right? And you are a very respectful, polished gentleman.
Oh,
so
thank you,
if you met a charlatan, you'd probably tolerate their shit. Yeah. Me,
You're the opposite.
I'm the opposite. If I smell it, there's a great quote from, and forgive the audience for this, grotesque quote, but it's quoted from Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. And there's a character in there who's just making it known that, and the quote is this: if the milk turns out to be sour, I ain't the kind of pussy to drink it. Right? So for me, I've been around, and in my industry, there are a lot of people that, use misdirection. They use, vanity metrics, false scarcity, all of this sort of stuff. And I can smell it a mile away. When I see it, I just call it out straight away. Yeah. No mercy, because at the end of the day, that's not my client. That's someone who's going to take advantage of my client or my future clients. So if I can address them in the moment, I can potentially save me having to do all this extra work to nurse my future clients back from being burnt, charred to a crisp.
Absolutely.
So, what's interesting though is that I've seen a lot of people that would then set this up, and they would take selfies next to Richard Branson, or they'd take selfies at an event that they paid to get a photo with Richard Branson and say, "This is my mate Richard."
That's total
fuck off.
Yep.
Like, seriously,
fabrication.
That's ridiculous. Like, they would set up, look at all my followers, and they've photoshopped out the real number and they've put 1 million subscribers or 1 million views, right? Ridiculous. However, for you, podcasting, to get out of the gate, if you wanted to just spend $75, get 4 mates together, divide it by 4, right? $20 each. 20 minutes, write a bunch of questions down, and then come in and record it. That's your content. Put your video camera up here.
It's not even a video. It's just your telephone, iPhone on a Joby stick. So look at beautiful video recording. That's it.
So for $20, 4 of your mates,
there you go.
You could get how much? So 20 minutes of content. How far could you stretch that with your?
20 minutes of content would stretch. You could use that for a month. You could chop it up into a million bits. You could keep reintroducing it and repackaging it.
Yeah.
You can take screenshots out of it. You can take little text pieces out of it.
Absolutely.
You can run a blog. You can throw it into AI and see what AI does with it. I mean, it just goes on.
So as long as you come in here, right, and like we're doing you run a podcast, right? But if you come in here and go, hey, I'm on a podcast, like I'm being interviewed by a really famous person and they're not there, that's bullshit, right? But if you're just doing it for content creation, from a variety perspective, like if I put this on my LinkedIn, people will be like, what are you up to? You never go to a podcast studio. What's going on? It looks different. I'm in a different environment. So because of that, they're going to watch.
Definitely.
And then they're going to hear some really cool content, because for us, we're just winging this now. But if you're going to do this for the first time, you want to get bang for buck, you'd write down, hey, Jimmy, could you ask me these 3 questions? Hey, Jeff, could you ask me these? Sarah, could you ask me these? 20 minutes, done. Now you help Jimmy, now you help Jeff, now you help Sarah. Dude, what a cool...
Amazing. And you've just touched on a really important point. It's the psychology of podcasting and how it's being received. In that if you look at social media these days, all you do is see people talking at you. Just everybody's recording straight to the camera, just talking at you, selling you something, talking about their business. Isn't it nice to have someone next to you asking you a question and you answering a question in a much more passive way?
Absolutely.
And you can actually invite your audience in to learn rather than saying, this is me buying my stuff.
Yes.
It's so much more passive, and it's so much more fun, and it's so much more indirect, but it creates so much more attraction and so much more engagement.
100%.
And my podcast episodes do better than any other thing on social.
There you go.
Because it's a conversation.
And there's no pressure. Yeah, there's no pressure.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're just chatting, take it or leave it, having fun.
Unbelievable.
And it's allowing people to get into your world and your mindset. And then if they like you, they might buy from you. They don't like you, no problem.
Is that okay though? Like this is the thing. So you and I know that it's okay for people not to like you, and you don't even sweat it because how many people are on the earth? Billions of people on the earth. You don't need everyone to.
No way.
And if they don't, it's good because then they're not going to waste your time. You're not going to waste your time and energy trying to sell them something that they never want to buy.
Yep.
But the people that want to hear from you, they're the people, right? They're your fans.
100%.
They're interested in what you do. They believe in what you do. So then should they have a need or know someone, hey, you should watch this episode with Steve and Daz.
Definitely.
You need a podcast? You need to talk to Daz. Daz and Steve they just talked about how we could spend $20, the four of us, and get some really professional content done. We should do that.
Yeah.
What have we asked? We haven't sold anything. We've literally just given away the keys to the city.
That's right. We told you how to do it.
Yep. But then if they get stuck, if they have if they want to take it to the next level, guess who they're going to call? They're going to call Big DS over here. Look at him. Look at him with his headphones on, looking all profesh.
And one thing you also just touched on, which was amazing, is really the basis of what we call imposter syndrome nowadays. Just a word that everybody's using. But if you don't care about everybody liking it, you don't care about actually doing it because you're not worried if everybody's going to like it or not. Just go and do it. Have some fun.
What have you got? There's two things there, right? Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So this is, I care about what everyone's going to say. Yeah. I don't. No. You don't anymore. I don't think I ever did.
No, neither did I actually.
Then you've obviously got perfection paralysis.
Yeah.
So the beautiful thing about a podcast is this is recording, and if you wanted to, you could just stop the recording and upload it.
Yep, you could let it go as it is.
Unpolished, and it would be rough, and depending on your level of perfection paralysis, you'll probably pass out. You might pass out and shake in the corner for a bit. I'd be like, that's cool. People know me. People
or just for fun, we might even say, you know what? Steve and Daz, raw from Melbourne.
Raw.
Bang. Nothing, no editing.
Crickets.
So you can have some fun.
And but then you've also got the opportunity, if you need to edit the thing. You can edit it to death. But where perfection paralysis gets in is you could spend a whole year. We've got a client at the moment that we're building a new learning platform for. Nice. And they've got a bunch of existing courses, and they wanted us to rebuild just one on the new platform. Yep. And I looked at it and I go, we could do this, but you're never going to then rebuild your other 7 courses, which means you'll never use and launch a new platform. What if we just took the existing ones, pick them up as they were? Yes, they're not beautiful, they're not pretty, but it's going to be a better experience in the new platform. Then we come back and start beautifying the others. But at least they're out. Yep. At least they're out, the lights are turned on, and you can start getting feedback, because you're your own worst enemy, right? You might think that you're, no one wants to listen to you, this, all these little limiting beliefs creeping in. You put something out there, you would be very surprised that people might just go, that was awesome.
Absolutely.
And you think it's the most rubbish thing. Have you ever had that? You've thought your roughest episode, you were horrified to press publish, and then that was the one that got the most views, or the most.
You can never tell which one is going to be the one that takes off.
That's it.
And then you get all the comments. Wow, that was really interesting. I was very fascinated about that insight. I said, really? I knew that.
Are you kidding me?
But everybody's different. And it's like when you go to a conference, as everybody always says, or some kind of webinar, if you take one thing, you've learned something. Yes. And everybody's one thing is going to be different. It's different. Because everybody's on a different stage in their journey.
Absolutely.
So that's why you can't judge. You can't assume what the audience is going to want. You just got to do it and let them take what they want.
I think the only assumption that you should make is that if someone presses play, they don't want you to suck.
That's true.
That they want you to succeed. So when we do the whole public speaking and communication side of things, people get nervous. You get nervous because you care about what people think of you. So if you just reframe that and go, well, if I was going to waste or spend my time listening to this, I want it to be good. I want to learn something. I want to be able to be empowered. I want to feel good at the end of it. That's what the audience wants. So why are you worried that they're going to think it's shit?
Absolutely.
Just show up and just crush it.
Yeah. Everybody's behind you. They want, if they're watching past 3 or 4 seconds.
Oh my God, they're in.
They're in. They want you to go on their journey. They're happy for you. They're learning. They want to learn themselves.
100%. So it's actually, you're doing an injustice to your audience by not pushing publish.
I love that.
There it is.
I love that. If you really believe that what you have to say is valuable to the world, if you hold it back, what a problem that is.
And this is the thing, right?
Everybody's so scared to put out what they want to put out, and look how much stuff is not being shared with the world because of people being scared of how they'll be received.
Think about all the niches, mate. So we're in a privileged position because we help experts commercialize their knowledge, right? Yep. So we saw what you were doing with podcasting. I'm like, Daz, why don't you teach people how to do this? And it didn't take us too long to just spin that up, right? Yep. We just took your knowledge, packaged it in a cool way, and then off you go. You'd be surprised. You got podcasting, you've got like crochet doll making, you've got baking, you've got something so crazy like we've got a client at the moment who polishes concrete slabs.
Wow.
Right? He wants to create a teaching program and a platform where he can educate people digitally how to polish concrete, Darren. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Like now, thanks to this, thanks to these rooms, thanks to the technology, you no longer have to worry about your postcode. You know, when you grew up, you're like hearing your postcode and like that's your friends, right? And then you probably got some old school friends who still live in the same suburb that they went to school with. They married one of their school friends. Nothing wrong with that. But digital now, you can access every single human on this earth if you needed to because we're so connected.
It's incredible.
And there's no barriers now.
Yep. And that's the other beautiful thing about doing this. Nobody has to give you the permission to have your own show.
No.
If you want to have your own show, start it. Just go. Who cares?
Yeah. Exactly.
Whatever you want to do, whatever dream you've had, whatever journey that you wanted to go on, just go.
Dude. Now there's one thing there's one thing that I have done recently that I haven't told too many people about, but I did a TEDx talk.
And I watched it and you were sensational.
And it's relevant to what I'm about to say next because even if no one listens to this, capturing your knowledge, capturing your thoughts, capturing your ideas in this format, oh my gosh, what a nod to your legacy and what a way to show your respect to yourself to capture the stuff that's floating around in your head. And so that you've at least got it. So that in the event that you were to leave this earth, you have a little folder of stuff that's you and your ideas that your loved ones and that people that are missing you can come and press play.
Definitely.
So at the very least, do it for yourself.
And check out Steve's TED Talk. Tell them a bit about your TED Talk. It's fantastic.
It was about legacy, right? So a lot of my world, if people meet me, they're like, "Oh, Steve, you're so fun, you're so out there, you're so motivated, you're so excited about what you do professionally." There's some stories that have happened to me. There's some situations that haven't been so happy, but they've shaped my life. And the TEDx talk process was a really good one for showing me that what I'm doing in my life has been shaped by the experiences that I've had. So, I lost the story that I tell in the TEDx talk is about legacy, but it's about how I lost my dad when I was a 12-year-old boy. And through that, he didn't proactively prioritize capturing his story. So as a result, he was given a very short period of time left on this earth and he rushed to capture it. And he had a tape recorder, right? Can you imagine? Imagine if he had one of these. He'd be able to sit in here, come in, rent the room and actually record the stuff that he wanted. But he had a week left to live and he got 13 minutes of a cassette tape recorded trying to tell us, my brother and I, all of his lessons, all of his values, all the things he's going to not be around to impart on us.
Wow.
Now, if he had have just dedicated 10 minutes a week during his life, we would have had hours and hours of content.
Right.
Now, people are like, "Oh, but would you listen to it?" Fuck yeah, I would.
Absolutely.
Because you don't know there's that Counting Crows song, right? You don't know what you got till it's gone. They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Now they're talking about knocking buildings down, but you don't. And what I see so much now is that people don't prioritize it because they think I've got till tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. It's important. I need to prioritize it, but I'll do it tomorrow. And sometimes tomorrow doesn't come. Like that's the only thing that's not guaranteed, right? We're lucky. We woke up today. We set a new record. Number of consecutive days lived on Earth. New record. Bam, today. Wow. But tomorrow might not be there. But it's not you that worries, right? In Harry Potter, in the last Harry Potter, when he uses the resurrection stone and he's having a chat with Dumbledore. Dumbledore says, "Don't pity the dead, Harry. Pity the living." Wow. Because they're the ones that have to be left when you're gone. When you're gone, wherever you go, whatever your belief, you go somewhere else. But you're not here. And you're not here to talk to. You're not here to pick up the phone and ask questions. You're not here to, give support or teach new skills. So what you've got is the technology and the ability to capture it. So that's what the talk was about. It was about just reminding people, giving people a positive spin on my negative situation, but reminding them that there is something very, very special and powerful in capturing your stuff. But also, if you've got older relatives still alive, what a gift! Yeah. Imagine bringing like, and I'm an Aussie, right? I've got no culture. There's no multiculturalness in my family tree. Yeah. But I see some of my friends who have got like migrant parents. Yeah. Or grandparents, nonnas, yayas, you know, and they've got stories that like they're the last generation. The grandparents of our generation are the last ones that came over on the ships, mate. That's right. So imagine bringing them in to here, spending $75 for an hour and going, Nonna, tell me what it was like when you came over on the boat. Yeah. And getting her to tell you that story. Mate, fucking crazy. This stuff, mate. Yep. But you've got it. Whether you listen to it when they're gone or not, it doesn't matter. The fact is that you've got it just in case you want to.
Yep. And you can video it as well. I mean, look at that. You can listen and video it. I mean, wow.
Do you know those books? Because this is the other question that I get. They're like, oh, why would you video and audio? Why don't I just get them to write it down? Because there's a lot of books that are like, oh, hey, grandma, write down like your first date. Write down like your favorite things. Yeah. That's great. But like, I'm 37, 38 this year. Dad died when I was 12, 25 years ago, mate. There's no way that I can remember what my dad sounded like. Mm-hmm. However, if I have a video or I have audio, I can listen to it. And the comfort that gives, hearing the voice, seeing the person versus trying to read it in a voice that you can't remember.
Very different.
Mate, so different.
Very different.
And today, the younger generation, you know, the ones that were born into the digital natives. I heard that's the second time I've heard that today.
Cool
the digital natives, they should be the directors of their family legacy because they just grab their phone, press record, shoot, done. Yep. Doesn't have to be professionally recorded.
No, not at all.
You just capture it. Yep.
And funny enough, I think there's been studies and so many examples of the fact that the world responds so much better to just natural, raw, unedited content.
Right? Isn't that right?
So funny. Like you'd think that they'd like it better if the light wasn't shining on half your face, or whatever sounds you were making. But they don't. People just connect with the raw part of the
Dude, it's a good change up.
Point.
It's a good change up too, and that segues into, I guess, sort of like the way that technology is going. Because I absolutely agree with you. Like when I started out in learning and development, we would have to bring in a film crew if we wanted to. Like we want to do and you do some photography in your spare time, you know, whenever you get that.
Whenever I got those 5 minutes,
you know. So I had some beautiful friends of mine got married, and the wife's brother was in charge of. He was the chief of photography, right. And I called him. I go, "You good? Do you need any help?" And
he's like, "COP, the chief of photography."
Do you need any help? And he's like, "Oh mate, I'm drowning a bit here. I usually take landscape photography, not humans. Oh, no. You know, so at least I set my camera up. The landscape doesn't move.
That's right.
You know, but these humans, smiles, different focus. Yeah, it's a very different game.
Very different.
And you know, I think that's something that's really interesting. Is that the more raw and the more on the spot. And so the contrast was that he did the professional photos, but I organised a photo app that was driven off a QR code. So then everyone at the wedding could take photos on their phones and then scan the QR code and upload the photos for the bride and groom to see, right? Really clever idea.
Very interesting.
And so what was interesting is going through those photos, they've got these beautiful professional photographs. Yep. Absolutely critical for a wedding because you should only do that once or twice, right? Yeah, depending on your beliefs or, you know, how many times you want to pay the toll, right? But the other thing was that you see these other perspectives of the day. Yeah. You know, selfies with me and the old grandma, and then over here the son's doing this, and then like a weird video shot at an upside down angle, but it's captured the thing that the
essence.
Oh, mate, it's
and that's a really good point because for being a photographer, you have to be a psychologist as well.
Yes.
You have to know how to work with people when you're dealing with people photography.
Yeah.
And really good point in that even if you're really good and you've done it for a long time, you're still not going to get that raw emotion like if your friend just grabbed the camera next to you and said, "Come on, let's have some fun. Let's just that's real candid stuff."
Absolutely.
And there have been lots of examples of service providers or photographers actually giving people little instant cameras.
There you go. Yep.
And then they put that together later on. So it's fascinating from a psychological point of view.
It's cool, but it's cool that both can still exist. So like, there's still a place for for polished audio. Like, so with your podcasting, your audio must be clean.
Yes.
You can't get away with like
most important
video
Yeah.
You know,
Video, you
should
can
be-
get
should
away
be
with
clear,
it. It's
but
okay.
yeah.
But audio's got to be clean.
Absolutely. But yeah, what I've seen is this shift in back professionally is that we would be brought into a company to film an induction series to then turn it into an online program. And the video had to be like cinema quality. Now the audience resonates better with like a selfie, like someone walking around the office with their phone going, hey, it's the CEO here. Nice to see you.
Absolutely.
Check this out. Like, and it gives videographers like the chills and they puts them in the corner and they have PTSD. But the audience resonates better with that.
Yep.
Are you seeing that with
100%?
Yeah.
And podcasts the same. Like some of my early episodes, I had all my furniture in the background.
Yeah, engineered up to
Lighting was terrible. Things coming out of my head, paintings, you know, and they still did it really well. And now I've got the nice background, and I've got the, you know, all that logos and all that kind of stuff, and it's on Canva, and you know, but the other stuff was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Nobody cared.
Absolutely. And we were talking about, we had a great coffee just across the road here, and we were talking about AI and how AI is sort of coming in. I think what raw video does is what AI will be able to do one day, but is still not able to do, which is, you know, AI can do, you can do an AI avatar that talks your script and dubs your voice and it looks like a robot pretending to talk to you, right? It still looks rough and ragged. So the more polished your video is, the less trusting your audience is that it's actually you.
That's actually a really good point.
So as a result, your defense against the dark arts of AI, and it's not dark, I love it. We both love it and we use it for the right reasons.
Exactly.
But your defense to build trust is to show that you're human.
Yeah.
And that's real beautiful. It's like, oh, hang on, we stuffed up. Do we cut it out of the episode or do we leave it?
Yep.
I'd leave it. Because I want people to be like, huh, these dudes are human.
Yeah, I love it.
Like, and they're vulnerable and they're willing to admit that they're not polished, they're not perfect. Crack on.
Absolutely.
And I'd be more likely to work with someone who's willing to be themselves than be this polished version that you meet, and then when they go home they put their tracksuit pants on and they eat their chips on the couch and they're a miserable human. I'd rather see that up front. Just give me that and I'll decide
I think
whether or not.
further to that, we're going to have to release this episode raw, uncut.
Oh, let's do it raw.
I mean, uncut, Steve and Daz. With all our flaws and all our oohs and ahs and filler words, we're going to just let it over.
Beautiful.
We'll cut it up after for some interesting, valuable content, but we're going to release this episode in its entirety raw.
You heard it here first, folks. And if you're hearing it, then that means we've left this in.
That's right. Absolutely.
Now I know that.
Just to show you what we mean, you know, because you have to do this.
100%. AI, what are you seeing in your, because you're in a couple of industries, right? So you're obviously in the content creation space, but you're also in the human space of recruitment. So that's a really interesting, you know, two places to come from.
Definitely.
How are you seeing AI? Let's go help. How are you seeing it help your industries respectively?
I think in general, as a smaller business owner or a solopreneur or a very small business, things like resources and people cost money, right? And time.
Yes.
So if you can use AI to help you do a lot of the stuff that you don't like doing or you not good at, find a tool or something that can do it, and it's very low cost compared to hiring someone else, a human.
Yeah.
You know, and as well, just focus on the stuff that you like to do and that you're good at, which is going to give you more bang for your buck anyway.
Yeah, interesting.
So I think that's good. And so from a content creation point of view, I mean, video is one thing. There's so many great tools now that you can upload a video to. It will give you 15 to 20 great clips.
Really?
With captions, and you don't have to do anything. I mean, that takes hours of work.
Literally just upload.
Upload either a full clip or upload a YouTube URL.
Wow.
That's insane.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's just
how's the quality, like, so let's compare that, because then there's obviously going to be some video cats that are watching this that'll be like, they're getting their pitchforks out, they're coming for you, Daz.
Yeah.
It's great.
Great, very good quality. And again, it's the quality of how you recorded it.
Right.
So if you record it with a fantastic, 4K camera or whatever, it's going to be even better.
How does it know what to cut?
It just uses AI algorithms to know which parts of the clip might be more engaging, and it even rates them. It says, this is an A+.
Oh, you're talking about Opus Clip, yeah?
Opus
there
Clip.
it is.
88 out of 100,
holding anything back.
90 out of 100, and then it says why, and it gives a good hook.
Shit.
It's got 4 or 5 different parameters
No shit.
to say that's why this is number 1, and then you've got number 20 down the bottom.
Okay.
It's pretty crazy.
Dude.
And there's lots of this stuff out
amazing.
there.
Okay, so I'm just trying to think how long it took me. Like if I recorded a podcast, and you'd know this as well. Like if I recorded a video and I needed to cut it into sections, I'd need to usually. And when I've used this with my team members, I've had more trouble sending a raw video to a team member and saying, cut this into some good clips, because they have to watch it.
That's right.
They then have to interpret it.
Yep.
They then have to then scrub through it and find the timestamps.
Yeah.
They then have to cut it. They then have to render it. They then have to
A lot of work, convert it to
days,
MP3.
couple of
and
days.
everything else,
Right?
and
I was
edit.
in a couple of days per video, like 10-minute video, couple of days to get
sure.
a bunch of content. And what you're saying is now it's in the matter of how long? 10 minutes.
20 minutes.
Whoa.
And it even tells you as it's coming, 13 minutes to go.
What?
And the shorter the clip, the quicker the turnaround time.
And you can download a clipped video
With captions
with
and
captions,
a couple of emojis.
and so,
Crazy stuff.
so you've just said it there, right? So time saving,
Huge.
AI is able to enable and facilitate some significant time savings.
And again, you could go and produce it to the hilt and
Yes.
do it Hollywood style and take a week, or you could use a tool, get it out there, and if it's 90% good enough,
Yes.
isn't that better than just waiting a week and wasting all that money and time and making it perfect where the less people or the same amount of people are going to see it?
Yeah, right.
What's the difference?
And then you're also going to let the audience tell you if they
what's
like
good
it.
and
And
what's
if they
not.
like the good stuff, you make more of it.
Exactly.
But if you just assume, they want perfection,
That's right.
you never launch anything.
Yep.
You're just robbing your audience of the chance to hang out with you. Okay, so video from a content perspective.
Big point of view. There's lots of great tools now to write to-do lists, to create presentations.
Yeah,
or
you're going
just
to
with
show me that
prompts.
before
I'm
we
gonna show you
finish
that
today.
later on.
Yep.
Obviously, ChatGPT is fantastic, but it's only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much stuff. But I think, as you said, and we were discussing this before in the coffee shop next door, is that a lot of the time, if you're using AI, it can also add layers and layers and layers on the process, because you've got to plug it into here, then take out something, plug it into there, take out something, plug it into there. And you could have just done it in 5 seconds.
Correct.
So it's about knowing when to use AI to do certain things,
Yes.
and when to use good old-fashioned human
Yeah, your brain.
automation.
Yeah, that's it. Or bringing people in to help you.
Or just scripting something. Like if I'm going to write the same type of email 100 times a day, I'm not going to write the thing, hi, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to say copy, paste, change a few things, done.
And send. Yep.
Isn't that faster than doing 6 things and putting it into
that's
ChatGPT and everything else?
That sort of stuff's been around for years, like templating.
Easy.
Templating and process. That
Just use a
doesn't need
notepad
AI.
in Apple.
Exactly.
So easy.
Copy,
or a Word
paste,
doc.
change the name out, done.
Done.
Right.
Right. So it's about using your discretion to know when to use what. You know,
Dude, interesting.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think definitely from a content perspective. But as we were saying in the coffee shop, I see a lot of people become overnight AI experts. So they use ChatGPT for a week, and then they pop up shop as a new AI technician or an AI prompt architect or insert wanky title here. And I don't have a problem with people reinventing themselves, but when you just follow the trends and become the coach of the trend, do you really have the time on the tools to be able to really give advice and support? Because my issue that I see with the AI coaches out there is they're saying, use ChatGPT to create this social media plan. But then by the time, like you're saying, by the time you type it, refine it, re-engineer it, copy it, paste it, publish it, like you probably could have just sat on your Facebook feed and scheduled a few posts, right?
Exactly.
So net zero gain.
Yeah. Like, honestly, when I get up in the morning,
you were
I
saying
get up
this.
early, 5:30, I work on my business in the first couple of hours. And then the rest of the time, I'm working in the business. So when I work on the business, I do my marketing, I do my accounting, I do my emailing, I do all that kind of stuff. But part of that process is to jump on my bunch of different social media platforms and decide, what am I going to do today? And it takes me literally 10 or 15 minutes to get a couple of posts out on a bunch of different platforms. And I have a few different personas. And if I had to sit down and schedule that for a month, that would be a lot of energy wasted. I could just get up in the morning and what do I feel like doing? It's more raw. It's more with the emotion of the day. It also allows me to know what I did yesterday, so I don't do the same thing. What's the world sense at the moment? What's the temperature of the world? What's going to resonate better? So if I've doing a lot of video lately, let's just do something else. Let's put some written content. Let's do a post, picture or something. So So I don't even have to think. Inspiration takes over.
Cool.
And 10 minutes, it's done.
Wow.
So I wouldn't even dream about scheduling things. It would take me more energy just to schedule it than to actually do it.
There you go.
So each to their own.
And just to play devil's advocate, because you talked about this tool, Opus, OPUS, Opus Clips,
Yep.
and you can try it for free, right? You don't have to pay for it.
Yep.
Go and give it a try, folks.
Yep.
with say that, if that gives you like 20 pieces of content, you could schedule that, right? You could schedule that, right? Yep. You could put that into a scheduler so that you could have like on every Wednesday or every Thursday for the next 2 months. You could have that
video
automatically go.
Yep.
But what you're saying is really relevant is that you wake up, you feel, oh cool, I'm doing some work with a social media agency and they're doing like a bunch of weekly scheduled posts. But yesterday it's on my LinkedIn now and no one's actually acknowledging it for what it actually is. But what I was doing is I was running a workshop and I faded my screen out and I'm drawing on my iPad on the Zoom screen, right? So real cool, clever tech, like stuff that I love.
Yeah.
I'm drawing away and I'm like, right, you need to draw, you need to follow your North Star. And I drew a star and then I drew a circle around it, which made it into a pentagram. And I saw it and I've registered, oh shit, like I'm now like, that's a religious symbol of some kind that's going to upset some people. So on the fly, I didn't bother editing it or stopping. Like most people would go, I was 10 minutes into this video. Yeah. I'm not stopping. I'm not leaving. So I was just like, hey, I'm not trying to channel the devil here. That looks like a pentagram, but let's turn it into something else. So I just on the fly just fixed it and cracked on. So the point of the post was, let's just not let perfection get in the way. But then everyone's now watching the entire video going, oh, wow, that's a really powerful message about, North Star, Steve. Yeah. And I'm like, that's not it at all. But if I didn't wake up and then send that to the guys that were doing it, they're doing great work, by the way. If I didn't send it to them and say, hey, here's a funny video I think would be relevant this week, it wouldn't have gone up.
That's right.
Because you overschedule, you over-engineer, then the stuff. So we're going to take some photos today. Yeah. I took some photos of my time in Sydney. That's just regular day-to-day stuff that people care about because you're human. They're like, oh, well, what's Steve doing in Sydney? Definitely. Like, I'm not famous. I'll never be famous and I don't want to be. No. To the point where, oh, Steve's in Sydney. We need to go to Sydney to go see Steve. No, but it's like, oh, Steve's an agency owner. He's got staff. He's got team. He's got clients. Oh, wow. Steve's in Sydney meeting clients.
Yep.
Wow. He's not just sitting in his bedroom pretending to be a life coach or something. Like he's legitimately
documenting your story
and showing legitimacy at the same time.
Yep.
You could be then like, look at me, look at my cool watch, look at my cool suit, look how much of a wanker I am. Cool, if that's your jam, no problems. But for me, I would just want people to see that I get around. I'm talking to different cats. I'm hanging out with dads today.
There's proof of what you say you do, what you do.
That's right.
You're actually talking on the stage, doing a keynote speech.
Correct.
There's a picture.
Yeah.
Oh, you actually do what you say.
Yeah. As opposed to photoshopping
exactly.
your keynote from your local BNI meeting.
That's right.
I did a keynote, right? Are you kidding me? You paid for breakfast. You paid $1,600 a year, and it's a sympathy talk that they have to let everyone steal oxygen from people. Come on, right? So it's I think that's some of the downsides or the dangers of that content. But that's really interesting about the AI side of things. And
absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's only going to get. It's only going to get better. Mate, I've been watching some stuff because I've been told that we don't do enough lead gen, like purposeful lead gen. So I'm looking at ways to do that. And as a result, once you start looking for stuff, the ads start to come in, right? They're like vultures. They just start to circle around you and they bombard you. I'm getting hit with AI voice agents. Mm-hmm. And so this is, you might use a tool. Like you were telling me about a tool that you use on LinkedIn, which gives you the ability to communicate with people. But there's some tools where you can grab people's emails, right? You're at a conference. I'll guarantee you there were conferences there. There were people there that were selling you lists of email addresses, yeah? Sure. You grab that, you plug that into your CRM, you bolt this voice agent in, and what it will do is it will fucking call every single person on that list, and it will be able to have a chat with them. So you'll answer the phone. Yo, oh, hey, is that Darren? This is a fucking robot talking, dude. Is that Darren? Yep, it's Darren. Hi, Darren. It's Jimmy from Learn Awesome. Whatever. How are you today? Yeah, I'm good. That's great to hear. Darren. Hey, we're just in the neighborhood. We're just wondering if you'd be interested in doing some digital learning or reviewing your LMS. Would that be something you'd be interested in? No, not really. Hey, cool. No worries. You have a great day. So that's doing that. Or if they say yes, cool. Well, when would be a good time for you to have a chat with our founder, Steve, or have a chat with one of Steve's team? Oh, Tuesday. Cool. I've got Tuesday at 10 o'clock or 4 o'clock. Which one would you prefer? 10 o'clock. Beautiful. I'll send you an email with the confirmation. We look forward to seeing you on the call later. So can you imagine that thing's like the fucking Terminator, dude? It doesn't sleep. It doesn't have emotion. It doesn't care if you pay it sick leave or not. It's just going.
It just keeps going.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy. That's
and
what's
it's
coming.
sounding better and better. And what's really important for me as a bit of a nerd in this space is the latency. And latency being the gap between me responding as the person and them answering. It's getting freaking short, dude. It is getting super, super short.
Definitely. Yep. It's the power of this technology is phenomenal.
Right.
We only just hit the start of this, the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. And like we've got clients in the cybersecurity space. Be afraid.
Huge.
Be afraid, folks. Because we could take this. So I do this for some of our clients in an ethical way. So voiceover. I'd hate to be a voiceover artist because I would hate to be one now with AI.
Oh, of course.
Because AI is coming for you like a freight train, right? So we could take 1 minute sample of your voice answering a question.
Easy.
I could upload it into 11 Labs or Speechify. They're the two that we use. 11 Labs is really good, really cool tech. And I'd go clone.
Wow.
And then 2 minutes later, minimum, like even less, probably a minute, I've got the ability to type into a text box anything I want, Darren, and it will sound like you. And I'm saying 90% likeness.
I'm not surprised.
Dude.
And video's coming the same way. I've tried out the video one a little. It's not perfect just yet, but it's coming.
Yeah, it's tricky, but it's getting there. But just think about the efficiency. We talk about time saving of AI, right? You think about these clients of ours, they build e-learning. So they've built this whole program. And then for accessibility, because accessibility is an important thing. You talk to Narelle. You talk to Narelle about accessibility from a visual perspective. She needs audio to be able to hear the program.
Absolutely.
So voiceover, it costs like $100 a minute minimum to get a professional to read the script. Now it costs $11 a month for 30,000 words.
Ridiculous.
Right? So these guys now don't have to call me and go hire a voiceover artist. It needs to be a guy. It needs to sound like this. Goes, why don't you just give me a voice clip? I did it as a joke. I got the client to give me a voice clip. Then I wrote this email, right? I wrote an email, which is the text. Steve's amazing. We love Learn Awesome. We're actually committing to like a $10 million deal with them.
I love it.
I authorized this as the director of this. Right. And then I voiced up it, sent her the voice clip, and she's like, oh my gosh. Whoa. Crazy, right? But from an efficiency perspective, we were able to, for $11, we were able to dub their voice, put it all through their e-learning, and they were happy, right?
So there is no excuse anymore for anybody to say, I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to market. I don't have time to content create. Look at the time saving. There is no excuse.
Yeah.
And the cost is
minuscule
pennies on the
compared
dollar, to hiring somebody to do it for you.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Super exciting, mate.
It's crazy. But the thing is, if you don't get used to this kind of stuff, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah.
You got to know what an MP3 is as opposed to an MP4. You got to know how to do whatever.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it's just, you got to be left behind.
I had a chat with a client on the way here. I got a text message through our CRM at 3:30 in the morning. Right?
Wow.
Crazy. And it's like, can someone call me? And I don't call anyone. Right? It's like, who are you? Like, I need some more context. So I got the team. The team's, hey, give us some more information, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to text. I want to talk.
Right.
So I'm on the train. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Bam, hey, what's the problem? What's going on? Do we know each other? No, we don't. I just saw you. Here it is. I just saw you on a webinar that I did 3 weeks ago in Greece at 3 a.m. Melbourne time, right? In Greece to 2,000 people for a platform that we work with, right? I saw you on there and yeah, you were really good. Like, you answered the questions really well. I've got some problems with this school that I have on this platform. Can you help me? And I'm like, look, I'm on the train, so I've got nothing else to do. Happy to have a chat to you, but it's going to be a bit rough because of the noise and all this stuff. 20-minute conversation turns into, this potential new client. However, one of the issues that they had was, I don't have time. I don't have time to do this, or I don't have time to do this. And, the platform doesn't work. The platform doesn't do this. The platform doesn't do this. And I'm like, well, respectfully, it does. You just don't know how to use it to its full potential, which is why you come to experts. But like, do yourself a favor, because it's going to cost you a lot of money for us to do this. Do yourself a favor and learn. Because if you learn, then at least when you come to the table and you're starting to have a chat to someone and and you're going to meet a potential charlatan, if you know enough to not be taken advantage of, I've saved you money by just letting you go and learn this stuff yourself. You don't have to become an expert, but just know enough so that they can't screw you
100%.
and steal your money and rob you blind. So that then when Steve comes along or Daz comes along, we don't have to nurse you back from your singed, crispy self, put burn ointment all over you for 4 months.
Aloe vera.
That's it. Rub the aloe vera in, wax on, wax off. And then we can start our relationship. I think people have a responsibility, and it's no longer a okay excuse to say I'm technologically illiterate. If you're technologically illiterate, strap yourself in, because Terminator's going to put you in the grave.
Can you imagine in the next couple of years the stuff that's going to be out there? If you don't have any base at all, you'll be taken for a ride. You'll be spending so much money on all these providers doing all these different things, and you will be being bled dry.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yep. You'll be left in the gutter. All you'll have is like two-minute noodles.
And you won't know what you're doing. It's just too much. You have to kind of get on the bandwagon to understand what you're doing, and then find the right provider or outsourcer to help you, but at the right price. Otherwise, it's a disaster.
And it may be moving very fast, but today, if our grandparents, I love this little nod back to the grandparents of old. Right. If our grandparents were millennials now, so if they were like 20 years old now and had their values and their skill set today, they would fucking decimate everyone. They would kill it. Definitely. They would be killing it because they've got the best of both worlds. So while it is moving at a crazy pace, it has never been easier to get access to information and education than it is today. Because you just go onto the second largest search engine on the world, YouTube. How do I learn AI? And you just watch some content, man. Dude, if you give me a weekend, because I watch YouTube at 2 times speed, right? I'm a savage. Like, if I know it, like if I wanted to learn about AI, I know enough about AI that I have the context to listen to it at speed. Right. If it's a brand new topic, I'll listen to it at 1 time.
Oh my God.
But if most people talk too slow, dude. Maybe I'm neurodiverse and I've just like my brain works a bit faster, but I just get bored. So I'm like, chuck it on 2 speed and I can watch, I watch a 2-hour podcast in an hour.
Wow.
So I can watch double the content as everyone else.
Right.
But give me a weekend. I'll learn a new topic, and mastery, 1,000 or 10,000 hours, whatever the statistic is to become a master. But I was listening to something where if you spend a year, and I think it was the 1,000-hour analogy, right? So I think 1,000 hours divided into a year is 20 minutes a day.
Right.
If you spend 20 minutes a day for a year learning a new skill, you'll be in the top 1% or 5%. Again, forgive me for butchering this, but it is on the spot and it is raw, folks. Like, we're not going to edit this shit out. Go fact check me. Go. Like, I'm encouraging you to go searching for stuff. But like, you're in the top 5 to 1% of people in that skill. Sorry, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So even if you did that for a week, you're so much further ahead than the general population to a point where you'd be able to hold a conversation about it. Oh.
And you touched on another good point. You don't have to eat the elephant in one bite.
No, you don't.
Just take it slowly. Otherwise, it's overwhelming.
Super overwhelming.
Like when we started with all this stuff, oh my God, I didn't even know where I was beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes time. You do it slowly. You add little bits and pieces as you go.
Yeah, that's it.
You don't have to bite the whole thing at once.
I know, mate.
Take your time.
What a treat. What a time to be alive. I think for us, I always like to look at this, like the generational side of things. Like, you and I were born before the internet. Right? So, or maybe for me, I'm a little bit younger than you, even though we look the same. Like, we look the same. You're doing well, mate. I was born as the internet was coming in, but I still grew up at a time where I didn't have the internet, like these digital natives who know nothing other than the internet. I would argue that our generation is equipped to survive this next piece more than the millennials, because we know what it was like.
The other side.
And we built the skills to research, to critically analyze and assess stuff, and not believe the first thing that comes up in the search results. Because of that, we're more equipped to really take advantage. And I've noticed that with myself. There's some platforms like TikTok. I don't really understand TikTok.
I don't use it.
Right? There's Instagram. There was someone sent me something on Instagram and only I saw it because it was like a private thing. And I'm like, how did you do that? They're like, oh my God, get with the times, bro. It's like, there's some things where I don't have the same touch as the newbies, the digital natives. However, when it comes to consuming bulk content, I'm like Neo in the Matrix, mate. Like I'm so capable of knowing what I need to art. Like I know what I need. It's like I need this piece. I need this piece. I need this piece.
You see
exactly right. Take a step back. Yep. Yeah. Alex Hormozi breaks it down really nicely. He's like, you can learn anything if you break it down to a small enough chunk. So the problem that we have is that we will take a skill like podcasting and we'll cluster podcasting and say, you need to learn podcasting. Someone that doesn't know anything about podcasting, they're drowning. Yeah, I'm fucking drowning, Dad. Help me. Yeah. So now you as the expert need to go, what's the cluster of podcasting made up of? Yeah. Okay, well, you've got technology, one cluster, but that's not it. Yep. Strip it out again. You've got microphones. You've got recording devices. Yep. In recording devices, you've got Zoom or you've got your phone. Then you've got your phone. So if you go further enough down, you can break it into something that anyone could learn and understand. Then all you've got to do is just work your way up the ladder and fill in all the gaps to then get the podcast cluster. Tick, you've clocked it. What's beautiful is the further you can step back and think, okay, I need to learn about AI. Where should I start? I need to know what AI is. Hey, YouTube, or hey, ChatGPT, because that was another interesting stat, is that ChatGPT is the Google killer, because ChatGPT is becoming a search engine because of what it does. Hey, ChatGPT, what was the date that this happened?
Definitely.
So Google killed, what did Google kill? Google killed the Yellow Pages. Yep. Google killed a whole bunch of other stuff that was the search engines. Yep. Google is now getting killed by AI.
That's right.
World's moving, technology. Mate. So you just ask ChatGPT, hey, could you teach me? This is another one, right? This is where it comes in. I am a beginner in the AI world. Could you build me a 2-week training program that I can spend 10 minutes a day learning about AI? Could you please give me the topics and the search term that I should search in YouTube? Crazy. Bam. One moment, please. And you'll have a 2-week learning curriculum that's built by the very fucking thing that you want to learn about.
That's right. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
Times anything on the planet.
Yep.
So you want to learn anything, get the robot to start you there. Yep. Now, the challenge that the newbies have, the millennials and the ones that are digital natives, they'll believe everything that robot says, whereas if we see something that's a little bit, that smells a bit off, we'll inquire about it, we'll challenge it, we'll go look at another few other sources to figure it out.
And we'll also have an understanding of what is the psychological and mental implication of whatever you're doing. Like, do we really need it from a human point of view?
Yes.
Because if you're not understanding the interaction and the human side of things, you'll just think you need to do everything. But you might think, that's not even important.
Yes.
Don't even bother with that.
No, skip that.
Don't worry about that. So that's the point. Is you need to still have a holistic understanding of how humans integrate and operate.
Dude, exciting.
That's the key.
Exciting times. Exciting times.
Crazy stuff.
Unbelievable.
Thanks again for joining me for another episode of Playing with Perspective, the Suspended Animation Podcast. If you would like to join me as a guest on the show, I would be delighted to collaborate. Feel free to buzz me on 0414 659 800 or email me on darren@suspendedanimation.com.au. I'm always on the lookout for great guests who can share their stories and expertise with my community. Also, if you have been thinking about putting your own podcast together and not sure where to begin, look no further. I run a really simple 3-part podcasting course, one-on-one with me, where I walk you through the entire podcasting journey. You will end up with a fantastic new podcast to start sharing right away. Feel free to get in touch to discuss further. But for now, though, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.